What's up, everybody? It's Ty the Bourbon Guy, and welcome back to the 25 Days of Whiskey. Today is day 14. And today is a very, very, very special day because by the time you're watching this, that means my second son has now arrived. I can't even put into words what it means to me to be a dad and to have two sons of my own and, just try to be an example for them and just do everything I can to set them up for success. And so, because of all that sappy stuff, we're gonna pick a special bottle today because today just can't be any whiskey. It just can't be any bottle. It has to be something significant. It has to be something special. And one of the things that I've talked about in the past is just unicorns not always being what you may think of as a unicorn bottle, something that's very hard to find or you never see or whatever the case is. Sometimes a unicorn bottle can be a single barrel or some type of, selection, store pick, or whatever it may be, that there was magic in that bottle at that time. And once it's gone, it's gone. To me, those are the true unicorns. There's only one bottle I can think of in this situation for a special day like today, and that is the Maker's Private Select Derby Pie. So the name Derby Pie is actually one that comes from, the store pick, I guess, in general, comes from West Clay Wine and Spirits. And again, you've been following me long enough, you probably have heard that name before. The fun thing about this is that the barrel that this is actually sitting on is the barrel from this pick. An amazing opportunity for me to work with West Clay and go down there to go visit Maker's Mark and to be part of the blending process and to try to figure out, and I say blending, I'm referring to the stave process of selecting different staves in their private selection process. It's way harder than I ever thought it would be. When you think about picking a different barrel or a single barrel product or store pick, a lot of the times, you're either trying different barrels or you're trying different samples from different barrels. And then you're just kind of picking. So you have these few and you pick, and then this is my favorite or this is the one I like the most. And that's the one that you bottle up and sell. Pretty simple. But with the Maker's process, it's nothing like that at all. It's, you have to understand what each of these staves is doing. So for those that may not know, in the private select process, there are 5 different staves that you can choose from. And as long as your total at the end of it equals 10 staves, you can pick whatever combination you want. So if you go in with kind of the expectation of these are the staves that I want, or maybe even asking them for suggestions or whatever the case is, that's one thing. But to try to have a taste profile in your head of what you're trying to aim for is a lot harder. And that's what we did. We actually, they told me they were aiming for Derby Pie. At the time, I'm like, I don't even know what Derby Pie is, but sure, you're asking me to do this and go down and drink whiskey. I'm 100% in, right? And to go down there and, I hear this story about everything with the Derby Pie, and it's a whole deal. But me not knowing what Derby Pie was, I'm kind of in trouble here. But I thought somebody will explain it to me, and then we'll figure it out from there. But we actually got a chance to go down there even for lunch. And so, we sat there at the restaurant, and just amazing service all around. I mean, food was great. And, so I'm eating steak and French fries for lunch, so everybody, I'm sure, felt sad for me, that I had to take off from work and do all this other stuff. Yeah, I'm sure. But for dessert, they actually served Derby Pie. And to my knowledge, I don't think anybody knew that that was what we were aiming for with that barrel. I think that just kind of worked out that way. So for me to now have that dessert sitting in front of me and to eat that and it to be fresh in my head of what this should taste like. And for those that were unfamiliar, just like I was unfamiliar, to me, Derby Pie is almost like a chocolate pecan type of pie. I mean, there's a lot of those same notes. The chocolate's there, the pecan, the pie crust, all those things. To me, that was very similar. So I had enough to be able to now go pick this, at least in my head, of what it should taste like. And so we go and do this. And so the way that I explained it to other people is that imagine trying to cook and you know that this needs salt, but you open your spice cabinet and nothing's labeled. Now you have to taste each ingredient to figure out what's salty. And then to go from there, you just because you add the salt in does not mean that this actually is what that dish was missing. a very complicated process in a good way. It was a lot of fun to, you know, and opened my eyes a lot when it comes to just whiskey in general, the finishes and the blending and all these different processes that, you know, different distilleries are trying to tackle right now. I have all the respect in the world for it because I just understood at that moment how hard this actually is. I think it's easy when we're sitting at home and we're like, oh, if I was the blender, I would have done this. It's easy to say those things. It is not easy to make this actually work. And so this combination, we actually tried maybe about 5 or 6 different combinations. I can't remember now, you know, what it was at the time. But this combination was actually the first combination that we landed on. And there was somebody in that group who is amazing at nailing down what he thinks the combination should be to make, you know, that taste profile. So the fact that this was the first one, we actually got pie crust on the nose immediately. I mean, it smells, you know, that dessert and that pie and that crust. It was just like, man, this is it. On the palate, the second combination, I guess, that we came up with, I felt like the palate on that one tasted more chocolatey. That almost like if the first combination was the pie crust on the nose and even on the palate, but that second combination we did, this is the filling of the pie. And that's kind of what I felt. Now, we kept trying different things here and there throughout the rest of the process. None of it worked. Not to say that, no, you know, they weren't bad, but it wasn't what we were aiming for. So it was between those first two. And when we kept going back, that first one just pretty much was it. I mean, we felt like we nailed it. Well, one person nailed it, but the rest of us were just drinking it. But I mean, to have a group and everybody agrees that, you know, we all have different palates and we all like different things and dislike other things, and for us all to come to the conclusion that this is it, it means it's a good bottle. It was a fun experience. We got a chance, I don't know what they actually call it, but we call it the lake house. Got a chance to go out there and just an amazing day. It was a beautiful day out on the water. You got whiskey, you're making something, you're doing something productive, but still having fun at the same time. It was just an awesome experience. And I learned my lesson from other single barrels or other private picks to where I made sure to get a case of this one because I wanted to hold some back for the future so that one day, when my sons are of age, to, you know, hopefully still be in this whiskey game and to, you know, I'm curious where I'll be at that time and what type of success hopefully I have at that time. And and even if I'm done with whiskey and done reviewing and done doing all that stuff, but to still have those bottles and to pull them out and to be able to say, this is a very special bottle to me and this is something that I want to share with you all. It just means the world to me. So I have held a few back for that reason, but we still have a few to enjoy. So a fantastic process overall. Kudos to Maker's Mark. And thank you to Maker's Mark for being part of my story and part of my journey. Thank you to West Clay Wine and Spirits in Carmel, Indiana for being part of my story as well. And again, with today, me being dad once again for the second time, just an amazing feeling. And, you know, it's just one of those things that I can't even put it into words. But all the support that you give to this channel, all the support that you give to me personally, and some of the people that knew that I had a second on the way, that I've been able to see at different events and congratulating me and all those things, it truly does mean the world to me because whiskey is one thing, real life is another. And the fact that there's people that tune in, subscribe and do all those things, and they comment and they like and they do all those things. And the fact that you all, you know, when I do see some of you in person, care enough to even ask me about my family, how are they doing, how's your wife doing, all that stuff, and it means the world to me for sure. So cheers to all of you for being part of this journey. Let's try this Derby Pie. Haven't had this one in a while, so it's fun to go back to it, but at 108 proof, to me, it's warming enough. Not gonna melt your face off or anything like that, but if somebody were to add water or an ice cube to it, I would understand that. But to me, it's just warming enough that when you think about a colder day, you know, sitting by a fire, I kind of mentioned this about, you know, midwinter nights, dram, similar to where it just kind of warms you to the point that you kind of want a cold day for that reason. But either way, this is just a special bottle to me. This is my unicorn. This is the one that I'm glad I have in my collection. It is one of the more rare bottles in my collection. And in case you're wondering what the stave combination actually is, it's 25030. So that's Derby Pie. It can be recreated. The funny thing is with Maker's Mark and the private selects, I used to think that if I at least knew the combination, if I ever see that combination again, I'll know that I like that. One thing I forgot to factor in is that there's 1,001 possible combinations. So I never have seen a duplicate combination. And there was another one years ago that we did. Well, I didn't do it. Wes Clay did it, called S'mores. And they no longer have the mocha stave. So that combination, doesn't matter that you have it, can never be recreated. I've actually gone and hunted some old picks just to see if they have the mocha stave, and if it's anywhere close to that combination. I can't find it. I have found some with the mocha stave still sitting on shelves. Can't find that combination. So to me, again, these are the true unicorns. I know it's easier said than done to not chase all those bottles and everything everybody's telling you have to have. Whatever. The point of whiskey is trying so many different whiskeys and just seeing what you like and what you don't like and exploring them. And just, for me, it's about just trying as much as I possibly can. And just, you know, it's fun when you find one that you really love, but to move on to that next one and just see what that one's all about and what's this one all about and what's that one all about. That's the joy of it, for me at least. So if you have a local liquor store around you, or a grocery store or a bar or whatever, anybody that's doing picks, I would encourage you to go try them. Go see how their picks are. I mean, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. And who knows, one day they may invite you to be part of the process. Thank you so much again for tuning into this. It's been an amazing time. Thank you so much. It's the 25 Days of Whiskey, day 14, and welcome to the world, baby boy. Cheers.